think we're about ready to get started. Hold on, let me see. Webcam, ZBrush Live 2. Whoa! Let me see, I gotta try to figure out getting my lamp out of the way. Okay. So I can get the microphone out of the way. There's just too much in the way. Good morning. How is everybody? Hello, Horace. That's a cool name, by the way. Dude, okay, so it's Saturday, and hey, Leonard. um, I had a thought. I I feel like the character that I've been working on the last few weeks has been going a little bit slowly. I've been feeling a little bit. No, I've been interested in kind of moving on to something else, and so I think I might put that character on pause, as you do, right? Um, and you know what? I was thinking maybe going through and starting a um going back to work on an environment that I had been working on before, a Christmas ornament. You know, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. I mean, that is a good idea. Um, let's do this. Let me see if I can remember. I do have, you know, for anybody who was around and watched the streams from last year. Let me see if I can open up the. I think I have a video. Do I have a video? I guess I have a video of the one. I don't have a video of the two. Yeah, let me open this up. So I have this that I made last year. And I've printed them out. But even at that, I still have ideas of things that I'd like to do to be able to make an ornament. You know, so this right now, this is fun. This will be a good like little desktop toy ornament. Um, but it would be cool. It'd be cool. I've got an idea for an ornament that I could make, you know, using one of these characters. So maybe let's try that. Let's maybe take Mrs. Claus and turn her into an ornament or something like that. I don't know what to see. Or got this idea with an elf. Let's make an elf. Let's do an elf, and we'll kind of work in that sort of direction. Let's try this. Okay. Um, okay. So this is going to be something that we'll start off, and we'll kind of build this in a very, I don't know. It's going to be kind of an interesting thing. Let's start off with a cylinder. Let's say make polymesh 3D. Hit the R so that we're starting off with just this fresh. Oh, come on, you. Starting off with just this fresh scene. Make sure that I've got symmetry on. Okay. Now I want this elf to have interesting proportions. Let's go ahead and start off with, let's add in like a head. That's interesting enough. Yeah. I don't like that. Okay, let's start playing. Where is Nacho? Who is Nacho? It's not Nacho's turn. Yeah, no, Nacho streams. When does Nacho stream? I think he streams on like Friday nights or something like that. The title should be updated. The title should be good. Let's see, dashboard. It should be updated. Yeah, titles are updated. So yeah, there shouldn't be any confusion there. He's like, I was going to go through and do it this morning, but Grace had gone through and done it either this morning or last night, so I didn't have to worry about it or do it myself. She's great. She's super on top of stuff. Okay, I'm going to try to play with some stuff here. Just kind of smooth this out, smooth this out. I think that's pretty wide. I'm going to, yeah, so first thing that I'm trying to do is kind of establish like different simple planes. This is going to be like really quick and like quick and dirty. Certainly dirty for an elf, I guess. That's not what I want. I want trim dynamic. It's like, what am I trying to do? I am trying to figure out something here. Be a normal human being. Let's go in. Let's use Dynamesh for a bit here. Turn down the blur. Turn on groups. Oh wow, that is really dense. Let's turn that like way down. Oh, I forgot to turn on groups. That's better. Streamline this shape a little bit here. Boom, 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 boom. You working on your ornament too, Leonard? Has anybody else ever made their own ornament? Just as a little bit of an, I'll say, an introduction to this particular, what this particular project will be. When I was working at Imagineering, one of the annual traditions among colleagues was to build our own Christmas ornaments and to do an exchange. And so this will be kind of this will be that's what this will be, right? This will be kind of a Christmas ornament for printing, and then being able to turn it into an ornament. And it's crazy. Like, some people would get really crazy, and they'd be experimental with all sorts of different materials. Yeah, right now is like the perfect time to get into actually making one. And you know what? Maybe that should be kind of the challenge for this year. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and use pinch. Let's say modify topology, mirror and weld, just so that way we've got everything worked to the center. Okay. Gonna go ahead and hold space bar and drag that mask out over those points here in the center. Oops, no more pinch. Stop pinching that bum. Okay, let's start kind of pulling this out. It's just gonna be like a little funny right there. We'll know it's there, but we'll never really see it. Just give him like an actual bum. Okay. In fact, let me go ahead and kind of smooth this out at the top just so that it feels like it tapers out naturally. Okay. I will probably do two versions. One with a beard, one without a beard. Maybe one with a beard, one with a mustache, one without a mustache beard. You know, so that way there's like a little variety. Let's go through. Let's say he's gonna need ears. So I've got my polysphere. Let's drag that out. And then with the transform gizmo stuff, we're going to go in here and we're going to say flatten. I'm going to turn on the symmetry for both sides here and just kind of flatten that down so that it's this nice disc shape. Hit accept. Now we can kind of position this. This is the same on both sides, so that's really, really nice. I'm going to say something like this. Let's angle it a bit more. Bless you. Did you ever see the one I did with sound and lights? I don't know if I've seen that. Yeah, my son just sneezed, and so so I went through and said, "Bless you." Never turned an ornament. Tried an ornament, not even a real one. Never too late to start. Yeah, so right now is a good time to start, and it's fun. But yeah, there were some crazy ones. I've seen some done with like origami. I've seen some done with paper mache and like cardboard paper cutout sort of style. Really, really neat. And yeah, let's go ahead and turn not the depth curve, AccuCurve, so we can get a nice little elf ear here. In fact, I gotta kind of reference the ears that I have on. You can't see on Santa because his hat is covering up his ears, but on Mrs. Claus you can see she's got a certain semi-anatomical sort of shaped ear. But yeah, so so a lot of the ornaments that you would see just very experimental because I mean, you know, we all worked in the model shop and we all worked with engineering things for the Disney parks, and there was so much creativity and so much um just so much there. You know what? I'm gonna actually boost the Dynamesh level here to like, I don't know, 32. Turn on my num lock. So that'll hold my shape a little bit better. In fact, let me try something. Let me come down here to deformation, unify. Oh, that's even smaller. I don't want it to be smaller. Then you look at my draw size is at 140, and you know I can make it like that. I don't know. It's pretty stinking small, but you know, whatever. Dark night has risen. Okay, so now what I want to do, let's grab this polysphere and we'll drag it out. I'm trying to think if I want to do kind of a goober nose like this, or if I want to do something that's like long and pointy. Let's do something that could be kind of cool. Let's start off with something like that because that could be interesting. It might not stay like that, but you know, we'll at least have it as a starting point. And then with these, I'm gonna take the ears actually, and I'm going to control click and drag. I'm just going to kind of bring them back here so that they also create a little bit of like a shape reinforcement and an anatomical sort of fudging, you know, back here. This way it just kind of helps to reinforce the shape of the ear and keep it strong. Now when we mesh it, it'll mesh in with the rest of the ear, and it should be fine. Let's see, let's go ahead and kind of smooth that out. That's a little bit too much, maybe. Okay, that'll work. It'd be funny to have like these little beady eyes. Let's see, I'm going to try something. Yeah, you know what, let's just use the cube simple. We'll just drag that out. We'll say subtool, split unmasked points. Oops, let's turn on local symmetry. So I've got a couple of different ideas for. Will I be participating in the sculpt off? Of course. I'm so excited. In fact, just for the sake of reminding myself exactly when it is, it should be next week, I believe, right? Ooh, not next week. Yeah. Yeah, next week on the 13th. On the 13th. You should be judged. No, I don't want to be a judge. I want to participate. I mean, I never win anything, so it's like, you know, no need for me to be taken out of the fun. And take this and here, let's see. Let's actually solo this out so that it's oops, come on, and then we'll just go ahead and soften that out, bring everything back, shrink it down. And then let's kind of scale everything up as a whole. This will be kind of like our block-in base for our eyebrows. I think it's kind of funny if you were to have like these really heavy eyebrows and then we'll give him like these little beady eyes. Let's actually go ahead and let's turn off our Dynamesh on this so that we can just keep it as it is. And just for the sake of giving him these little beady eyes, let's kind of make him something like this. Did you know that there are 11 billion crabs went missing in Norway? I didn't know that there were 11 billion crabs in Norway. Let's do something like that for now. Now, I'm going to have to figure out something with the mouth. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this guy right here. Let's click and drag that down. just make it its own polygroup so it's easy to kind of work with here. Okay, turn off the local symmetry. Now I can move it. Okay, I'm going to take my clip curve. The nice thing about clip curve is that it works in symmetry, and it respects masking. So that's something that's really, really handy. I'm gonna grab this, kind of move it out so that I can make like a top lip. It's kind of cool. Let's see about taking some of this, and maybe I can like push this in a little bit. I want this guy to be pretty stylized and pretty simple. Now with this, I'm going to click and drag, control click and drag this so that I can get. Ooh, I like that. Let's take. Take some of that. You know what? I'm going to use the knife curve because it's knife curve. And then this should be symmetrical, which is good. Okay, I'm going to use this piece. And let's go ahead and control W so it's its own poly group. I'm going to take this and have this kind of coming out. Let's see if we can get this to work. I feel like it's already kind of not working. Okay, let me see. Let's go ahead and drag this out a little bit. Something, I don't know. Come on, smooth, smooth, smooth. Let's go ahead and kind of pinch this a little bit so that it feels a little bit more of like a ridge. Okay, let's start blocking in other parts of his character. Hello, Mini Chicks Studio. That's a fun name. That is a fun name. Okay, I'm going to go ahead. I do kind of want to make sure that this the point in the ear is there and that it's enough for it to stay sturdy. I have a couple of ideas of how I want this this ornament to go. And this is an idea that I've had since my first ornament at Imagineering. Let's give him kind of a pear shape. That's kind of fun. And in fact, let's grab this, invert the mask. Let's kind of make his head, you know, more up and down. And then we'll kind of make his back a little bit more up straight. I love baby chicken minis. That's fun. That's really fun. Is there a way to do a mask selecting polygroups without blur? Well, I mean, it's like each of these are their own separate piece. So, I mean, each time I select a piece, it's going to select it without blurring. Um, yeah, I mean, every time, even if I had, say for instance, a different polygroup that was attached to a same, adjacent thing here. If I just go ahead and control click on that, it's going to select it without blurring it. Um, yeah, like literally that whole poly group is going to be unmasked. So anything that's adjacent to it, anything that's outside of that is going to be masked. Because then this becomes helpful for things like being able to control click and drag and be able to extrude out. Okay. So you can see, like, if I click and drag normally, it's going to kind of drag what's there, but if I control click and drag, you see it's creating a new bunch of polygons. Just some, it's kind of a weird trick, but it's really cool and it's super helpful. I use it quite a bit. Yeah, I mean, that's the only way I know how to answer that question. That's really all there is to it. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of pull these legs out a little bit. And then what's nice is that legs and arms are fairly similar, or at least similar enough for my purposes with this particular character, that I can just go ahead once I create um, once I create oops, that got overlapped. I didn't want that. Let's go ahead and fix this. Here, let's actually pull it apart, and then we can go ahead and kind of fix it. But yeah, I mean, really just anytime you have polygroups, like separate polygroups, it's going to allow you that opportunity to select it separately. Okay, so now we've got like these legs here. I'm going to, oh, are they the same polygroup as the head? That does not serve me at all. Let's go ahead and do this, control click it. Wow, look at that. So if you ever run into this issue where you have, where you're trying to like duplicate something off that you've made, you'll notice that it's taking the top halves off to one side and the bottom halves off to another. That's a pain, but it's easy to fix. Okay, so I'm just going to bring it back. We're going to say modify topology, mirror and weld. Okay, and you'll notice that now it's nice and even. Okay, now if I control click and drag, it's going to give me one on each side. Okay, really simple. Not any less of a pain in the butt, but it's it is what it is. Let's go ahead and bring this up. He feels like really swole. It's gonna give him a little smaller of arms. Rotate him back so that it feels like it's connecting and hanging more naturally. Okay, here's like our basic block in for our elf. All right. Let's see. Oh, in fact, let's come back here. Let's make sure that the arms are a different polygroup from the legs. Oh, it looks like Dynamesh has been turned off. Yeah, let's turn this up just a slight bit more. Let's turn it up to like 64. And that'll be as high as I take these pieces, I think. Okay, it's kind of smooth down the arms. Let's kind of smooth down the legs, just so that they're not super faceted. Just gonna try to give it a general smoothing pass. I could go through pretty easily and just use like the polish feature inside of the deformation tab. But yeah, whatever. Okay, let me see. Let's grab that nose. I want to try something. Let's use the clip curve. That's not quite what I want. Let's try this again. Let's come. I don't like that. But let's see. Let's try. That's too much. Nah, I don't like it. Let's keep it simple. Let's refer to Santa was really quite simple. Let's see. Let's do this. Let's trade for trim dynamic. Let's do something kind of like that, and then smooth it out some. And then over here, what I want to do, let's grab my move infinite depth. And since I have the AccuCurve turned on, I can just kind of like click and drag, and that'll get me a little bit nicer of a fall off. Let's use the regular move now, and let's see about kind of getting a little bit of a bridge to the nose. Right now is all about playing. It's all about designing and trying to figure this guy out. The nose might be like way too long. We'll have to just, I don't know, and it might be worthwhile just to go in and like steal Santa's nose, because why not? Here, let me see. Let's come over here. Let's go to characters for fun. We've got Santa in here somewhere. There we go. And we will say elf 01. Yeah, the mirror and weld can absolutely save the day. It's one of those things that, yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. It is fantastic. It's one of those things that's a really hard thing to navigate if you're working with something that already has UVs. But for this sort of thing, we don't really need to worry about anything that has UVs. Let's go ahead. Let's grab. I should be able to grab Santa. I don't remember if he's in like any kind of. Yeah, he's in pose. But it's okay. We're just gonna steal his nose. So you can see like how simple his nose is. Here, I'm just gonna say split hidden. Let's grab that nose. We'll go back over into our elf buddy. And in fact, maybe what I'll do is I'll do the same thing with this guy's eyes that I have with Santa's eyes. Might even take his eyebrows too. I don't know. I'll have to see. Let's go ahead. Let's say append. Let's grab this nose here. And you can see it's much too large. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and take this. We'll try to bring that in. We can come down to geometry, modify topology, mirror and weld. And if we wanted to, we could even come down here to position just to be able to make sure that we get this as centered as possible. You can see it's not quite upright, so let's just kind of do something like that. Modify topology, mirror and weld, and there we go. There's our Santa's nose. So I mean, we can scale this to fit, and then we have kind of a uniform sort of thing going on. Oh, you know what? It's moving off center because I had my symmetry turned off and all sorts of things, right? So let's go ahead, let's just make sure, double check, mirror and weld, we're good. Okay, I'm going to change to skin shade. We'll say Z plugin, we'll say subtool master, fill, material, okay. I'm not entirely sure yet if I want to make his he's got a funny little nose now. Definitely changes the whole look of the character, but I feel like it kind of works. We'll keep it for now. Let's go ahead and do something like this. Yeah, let's go ahead and we will fill this guy. Color, fill object, just so that way he's fleshy colored, and helps us to see a little bit better what it is that we're looking at. I'm going to take my brush, my move brush, turn on AccuCurve, and I'm just going to take the corner of the mouth and kind of pull it back and in. Maybe make the brush a little bit larger. And just kind of try to fix some of these shapes in here. And that's feeling a little bit more natural, a little bit better. I'm going to go in and just steal the... oh, you know what? It looks like I don't have actual eyelashes in Santa. I know that I'm pretty sure that I did it for Mrs. Claus. Although maybe I didn't. Because like if you look at this, yeah, let's go ahead and let's do the same thing. We'll say fill material. You can see it's, I've got like some decent-ish anatomy in there where it's like, more focused on kind of getting the fleshiness of his face, and he's just, really, really, really squat in his proportions. But let's turn off the color. You can see kind of the way that it's just sculpted in. So maybe that's something that we can just do here. Oh, let's check out the eyebrows though, because the eyebrows were fun. The eyebrows are super simple on this guy, but it's, you know, works. And bring it over because that'll be fun to kind of experiment. I can use the beard as a starting point. I can use the eyebrows as... Oh, okay, I see what's going on. I had the wrong thing selected. Okay. So let's go ahead. We've got the eyebrows. We'll say split hidden. Let's turn off the beard. Geometry, mirror and weld. Let's turn on our symmetry for this guy here, and boom. This probably isn't quite the look that I want, but we can figure it out at some point. Yeah, I'd like it to be kind of the opposite shape. Maybe what we'll do is we'll just take it to the opposite side. Just kind of like that. Because why not? You know, it's already got a much more proper taper for what it is that I'm wanting to have with this shape anyway. So that could be neat. Or let's see, let's take this to, and we'll just kind of scale it down. Oh, let's turn on local symmetry because I want it to kind of scale forward and backward. And then we'll just kind of make it form to his head. Okay, let's see if we can make some cool eyes with this, guys. Let's grab... I'm pretty sure it's this right side that's getting the side mirrored over. The pointy nose is growing on you. Yeah, I think it's one of those things that I'll have to go back and play with some. Let's get the beard in there and see what we think. Let's see, let's come up here, let's grab... Oops. So there are our little eyes. I'm going to kind of pull those back and in. I'm going to say center that. I'm just going to try to take these back to being more of like a sphere so that I have something to kind of work with in making let's say geometry, delete hidden. So we don't need those chunky blocky brows anymore. Ooh, and I like that color. So maybe what I'll do is I'll grab those eyebrows, make them that color. In fact, let's say MRGB, color fill object. And granted, you know, this is something that I'm working on to do 3D printing, so it's like it's not really it's not really important that I have color. It's just you know, I like having color for the sake of being able to keep a separation of things mentally. I'm going to grab this upper lip. If it'll let me. There we go. Let's turn off symmetry. I'm going to control click and drag so bring this up. And let's start sculpting this into position. This is going to be kind of like an upper eyelid. get something kind of going like that. And let's go ahead and say mirror and weld. So we've got the same thing on both sides. And then let's grab the bottom lip, control click and drag. Come on, you, there you go. I'm gonna pull this up so that this fits underneath the eye. Et voila. Using the mouth to make an eye. It's super simple, but it works. And let's go ahead and make sure that that's its own poly group. Let's make sure this is its own poly group. I'm liking how that's looking. I feel like he feels old and droopy and tired, and that's kind of, you know, I mean, he's part of the toy force, you know. He's oh, I don't want AccuCurve on at the moment. Mirror and weld to get it to be the same on both sides. Okay, let's grab these eyes. I think it's fair to kind of take them and make them a little bit bigger. Take that and kind of shove it back and in some. Actually, since this is this might fit a little bit better if it's kind of mushed in. I'm not going to worry too much about having perfectly spherical eyes. I'm not making this guy for production after all, so you know, might as well just make it sculptural. It looks like teeth, so we're gonna go ahead and smooth, like, do the dynamic smooth preview because that looked weird. Gotta fix a few things with the forms in here, because they're starting to get like some weird breakup in the curve. Oh shoot, I didn't want that. Let's go deformation, mirror, mirror and weld. Now we turn on symmetry so that we don't lose it anymore. Got to make sure that there is enough of an overhang here for it to feel like it's consistent. And there we go. He looks more like he could be related to the Godfather, like he's ready to go and collect on some favors. Okay, I'm going to save this. I kind of like where he's at. It's funny, but I don't feel like it's working for me. He does feel a little too mobster. I want him to feel cute and funny. So I'm gonna have to kind of rework some ideas here. I think part of it might include going in and kind of re-elongating the nose. Let's try this. Let's rename this nose. Control Shift D. You know what? I'm going to take the top half and mask it off. And then this bottom half, I'm just going to scale it up. So that way it gets me a little bit of like a round on top, flat on the bottom sort of effect. Got a little bit too crisp right there on the edge. Let's add in the beard. We're going to want to do it without the hair, so let's go ahead and grab... Come on, grab the beard. There we go. Okay. Say split hidden, so we don't need that. Let's go ahead and shrink it down. It's so fun. MRGB, let's say color, fill object. Okay, I'm already liking this. Now I don't want to mirror and weld the beard. The beard I can just go ahead and kind of put in position. The mustache is something that I can go ahead and I can mirror and weld, so that way it's... He's almost starting to look more like a dwarf than a... than an elf. Okay, let me see. Let's go ahead and grab that beard again. Turn on our transparency. Shrink it down just a little bit more. Okay, let's see if we can get this to work right. Let's grab the beard itself. Pull that around, pull this up. I feel like, there we go. He feels too much like a dictator. And part of it's the color of that. And part of it's the eyes, and part of it's... So I think wise guy elf. I feel like he's starting to feel a little bit more like Hussein, like Saddam Hussein. Like, dang, that's definitely not the look that we want. So let me see if we... Let's make this a little bit less... I gotta simplify this. Let's see. You know what? We'll leave this because this is interesting. Elf 2. Yeah, kind of Fidel Castro-ish. Yeah, like, definitely not working out. Not looking the way that he needs to. So now that we've gone through and done this, I'm going to... Let's go ahead and version up again. Just so we can keep track of our progress. I think that let's do a few things. Let's turn on all our local symmetry. Let's work on making him feel young and spry, you know. Let's do something like this. We'll get rid of this. Let's say split hidden. We'll just delete that there. And then essentially what I'm going to do, that mouth is just not working for me anymore. I think what I want to do is take it and we will, let's kind of extend it out. I'm going to like really push and play. Let's get like more of a triangular sort of shape here. It's kind of a nice sharp corner down at the bottom. This bottom lip, this is like too much, so I'm going to just delete it altogether, I think. Yeah, let's say split hidden, just so we can have it if we want to. This mustache, I feel like we could easily take this and I mean, he's already feeling much more friendly. I think it's just a matter of taking it and kind of figuring out what to do with it. Kind of grab that and pull it up some. He's definitely feeling much more friendly now. It feels much more lumberjack-like, which is not quite the look that I want. Come on, you. Select the thing. I'm gonna try playing with this shape a little bit, you know, kind of getting like a little bit of like a, that's feeling like strong and sturdy though, so that's one of those things that I'm trying to, I gotta figure this out. I was gonna say, what happened to the nostril pieces? That feels fun. That feels fun. That's starting to go somewhere. Let's pursue this a little bit. Okay, I'm going to, let's get rid of these eyes. I'm going to take let's kind of create some planes here. Okay, if you hold Alt when you're doing like a crease on the inside, so with crease or not crease, pinch, you're pulling all the pieces together on the outside of a curve, like outside, like a convex um, sort of surface. Okay, but if you hold Alt, that'll let you do it nicely on a concave surface to pinch on pieces that are kind of coming together this way instead of pieces that are coming together in like a peak. It pulls it together in a valley, and that's super helpful. It's a good distinction. Okay, so we're going to do something like this. I'm going to use one of my techniques to be able to create like my desk pets. I don't know if you guys are familiar with those. Like, I've got like my baby shark. You see, like, baby shark has like these eyelash pieces there. I want to do something like that because I think that that'll work pretty well for this. I could go ahead and just grab the desk pet, but I'm going to do this instead. Let's just use the topology brush. Oops. Let's kind of bring that down here. Let's do something simple, kind of like this. Let's see. Do something like this instead. Kind of bridge that together so that I've got a couple of pieces kind of going on in there. Make sure that is set down to 1. We'll go ahead and we'll commit to that. Split unmasked. Somebody sounds angry. Somebody sounds quite angry. Let me see. I've got to think now because I feel like I'm actually messing up on something here. You know what? Here's what we're gonna do. I'm just gonna go ahead and pull from the other thing. You might as well just like not even have to think. My brain's I'm on not characters for fun. It would be underneath SMAARTIST, Leyenda Toys, Desk Pets. Yeah, sure, we'll open the rhino because the rhino has it. This is one that I haven't shown off much because I feel like it needs some reworking, but it's fun. Okay, so you can see I've got my eyelashes in here. Do I have? Oh, those teeth would be brilliant too. Let's go ahead. Let's come back over here to the elf. We'll say insert. Get this piece. I'm going to say geometry, delete hidden, just to make sure that I'm not working with anything that I don't need. Let's hit delete higher. Yeah, you can see I definitely overcomplicated it. It's okay. Let's go ahead and select one. Delete hidden. Kind of shrink that down. So now if we go up, we can just say delete on this. And then with this guy right here, we can just say mirror and weld, but I'm going to, let's wait a second. Let's go ahead and turn our AccuCurve back on. I'm just going to pull the corner of the eye in there. Let's turn it back off. Let's pull this out. And then I want to kind of just sculpt in some of these cheery eye details. And this should hopefully help it tie in. Let's kind of soften that out, and then we can kind of redefine that crease. This will hopefully help tie it in pretty nicely with eyelashes. That's funny. Get something like that. Just make sure that it's not going past that midpoint, and we'll just say geometry, mirror, and weld. I feel like it's really, really dark. So, I mean, it might be worth going in and saying, you know, making this so that it's lighter. Just for the sake of more of like a unity pass on this. Let's say color, fill object. And that'll work. That'll work for me for now. So that way it's not standing out too much. He looks much more friendly now. And that's kind of what we were wanting to get at, is making him so that he feels friendly. Although he still feels like he might be too anatomical. Kind of want him to be a little bit more simplified of a design. So I mean, it might be worthwhile to go through and try another version where he's got yeah, it's always kind of funny going through and like designing on the fly, because you run into these sorts of things all the time. I do feel like he feels much more like a dwarf than he does like an elf. Which is cool, but it doesn't work for this project. Right? Okay. And maybe it's just a matter of that's working though. That's working now. I'm going to keep playing with this. Control Shift D. I'm going to select just the beard. I'm going to say delete hidden. Just so that way we can take this piece, turn off symmetry, center this, turn it around, bright eyes. Every now and then I fall apart. Total eclipse of the heart. Let's go ahead and pull this down and in, pull this up, make this into some hair. Well, I mean, it's working. I mean, it's not bad. Just kind of use this to attach to the hair, to the ear, so that way it just kind of reinforces that piece and makes it so that it's a little bit stronger. I like that. Mullet elf, yes. Should I give him a flat top too, so that he gets like the or a comb over? Or, you know, no, he's got to have his hat, so the hat's gonna cover most of that. Let's model out the hat so that we get the full effect. Let's kind of fix some of the shape of this ear. Let's turn on AccuCurve again. It's like I'm trying to be careful, like to get the right shape for this ear, because it's something that I want. Nobody's here pressuring me to do anything, right? There we go, that's better. I do kind of feel like maybe it needs to tilt back though. Okay, there we go. I was like, why didn't everything else? Okay, it's just because it's different subtools. I want to grab this beard. Let's try pulling it up so that it meets. Maybe that's what I'll do. Is I'll take the hair. I'll have it meet with the beard. And this way I get like kind of a nice bit of coverage, like a natural bit of coverage there. Let's go ahead and turn off symmetry for a moment so we can bring this up to be a little bit more like the other side. Do this side a little bit as well here. Let's kind of tailor it. All right, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. Let's go ahead and make him a nice little, I'll call it a Swiss Alps hat. Make him feel elf-like. Just kind of make this shape something that we can be happy with. And we'll come back to it again later, I'm sure, but you know, whatever. It'll stay what it is for now. Just kind of pull this down so that it really fills in that back area. Oh yeah, ZBrush Sculpt Off happening next weekend. Okay, I still haven't practiced at all, so don't feel bad if you haven't either. Yeah, I mean it's super exciting. I love the ZBrush Sculpt Off. It's just a great opportunity for myself personally to be able to try something new out, to do something different from what I do typically. And I totally suggest that other people do the same, you know, take an opportunity to that's not quite the shape that I want. Let's lower that. That looks better. just going to use my move brush and kind of pull this in. But yeah, look at it as an opportunity to try something new, to test some different techniques, to play and add to your portfolio, to network, to all sorts of things. That's really like my big goal with it, is just to be able to have fun. Go back to brush. Let's turn on the AccuCurve. I just want to kind of emphasize some of these points in here. And then I will emphasize some of these edges a little bit more too. Ooh, I like that. I like that offset curve. That's pretty cool. I'm liking that. Okay, that looks good. That looks good. I'll keep that. I'll accept that. I do want to make sure that hair is not going through the ear. He doesn't need hairy ears. And let's also make sure that we're getting this kind of going up over the ear instead of going through it. So that way it just creates this sense of hairline. It creates a sense of hair flow, creates a sense of hairness, I guess. Yeah, I just want to make it feel pretty decent. Okay. So working on the other side too. Let's turn off symmetry, adjust this just a little bit, adjust this just a little bit, and we're golden. All right. Okay, now let's build his hat, his little Swiss Alps hat. When I combine, merge down a large amount of subtools, and then Dynamesh, my sculpt explodes and is full of holes. I don't know that you're doing anything wrong. That is a really nasty bug. I don't think that you're really doing anything wrong. One thing that you can do is you can try it again. You can split it out and then try it again. You could go in instead, and so like maybe say you get to a point where you have everything that you want to merge together. Visible. You can go ahead, you could select it, you can say Control F and make a folder. This is just another way that you could go about this, right? You can set this, you can bring this in, you could say Boolean with dynamic subdiv, and this will go through and create a Boolean of these pieces. And then if you wanted to, the limbs remind you of blobfish. That's funny. And then if you wanted to, now you have this piece that's completely all together. It's Boolean, so it's watertight. It should be nice and closed with no holes. You could go through and you could Control Shift A and double check. Yeah, it looks like it's solid. So this is good. And then you could go ahead and you could try geometry, Dynamesh, and then hit Dynamesh. Which now this is like nice and Dynamesh together. So that's one method. Okay, you could yeah, it looks like somebody else put it into the chat. There's also the option of being able to Dynamesh by union. So another option, let's say merge folder. Oh, we gotta turn it on. In fact, let's do this before I continue on. Let's come over here. I'm going to say merge folder. Okay, so now this is essentially what you were talking about. This is I've got all these subtools. They're merged together. So one of the things that you can do is you can come over here. I'm going to turn that off, and then underneath our gizmos transform type, we can come to remesh by ZRemesher, remesh by union, remesh by dynamesh, and you have these sorts of options in here. So you can say remesh by union, and that'll essentially do the same thing that we did just now. So you can see like this is literally the exact same thing. You come over here, you can say accept. And so, this versus this, you can see it's the same thing with the difference of some polygroup colors. You could undo it. Let me see. Let's come back. Another one you could use is you could come in. You could say remesh by dynamesh, and then we have a couple of cones that we can go through and we can select. Let me see. I'm trying to remember which one. Target polygon count. Okay, so that's cool. We have reproject. We don't need to bother with that, and smoothness. Let's go ahead and just kind of deal with this. And you can see it'll go through and remesh based on whatever it is you'd pull it out to. So right now it did the remesh based on 160, 170,000 something. And this is something that's dynamic. You can go through and you can make it lower, and I can make it higher. But it's always going back and referencing that original bit. That made it really super heavy, almost 1,000,000 polys, but it made it enough so that it's enough to sculpt on and whatnot. But yeah, that's an option for you as well. One thing that happens though when you do it with the Dynamesh is that it gets rid of all your polygroups, so that's something to kind of keep in mind. And quite honestly, it's not a tool that I ever use because it's not something that I really ever need. Um, but whatever. It's useful. It's there. It's an option. So we'll just call this. We'll leave it alone. We'll keep it, but we'll leave it alone. um, yeah, let's go back in here and kind of play with this some more. Elf hat. Let's do elf hat. In fact, maybe what we'll do too is let's grab this green right here, just for the sake of making him not look naked anymore. Oh, let's make that intensity up. Now it looks like he's wearing some sort of jumper. Yeah, hopefully that helps. I mean, it's definitely kind of an interesting interesting set of tools. You know what? I'm curious. No, there isn't a belt. There is a hat, but I don't want that kind of hat for the elf. I want more of that Swiss Alps yodeler hat. So, and I want it to be kind of big too. So let's do this. I'm going to say, in fact, I want to give him like a, give him just like a little bit of an extra, slight bit of anatomy there, just to help push the idea of friendliness and smiling and and maybe age too. I feel like he's probably all right to be a little bit older. I don't know. We'll keep him. We'll keep him. All right. Cool. All right. Hat. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to literally just Control Shift D and drag this up. It doesn't really matter what it is that I use. I'm going to turn off symmetry. Place my gizmo where I want it. And then I'm going to select my IMM primitives brush. And then this is where we get to start really playing as if we weren't playing already, but you know. Let's come in over here. We'll say geometry, modify topology, delete hidden. Let's turn off that dynamic bit here. So now this is where I'm going to start to utilize some good topology. Let's say color fill object, so we have kind of a nice colored contrast there. Papa Elf. Is this subdivide? No, this is not subdivide. This is actually Dynamesh. So it's not very often that I work in Dynamesh. But there will be pieces that I'll create, like I'm creating now. This elf hat. That this will be done using subdivisions and things of that sort. Yeah. Yeah, but you guys know me well enough. Yeah, I do usually work with those sorts of meshes. So I can't blame you for asking. I'm trying to figure out if this is something that I'm liking or not. So far, I'm feeling kind of not convinced by it. It feels like, I don't know, it feels like a thorn on his head, and that's not the look that I want. And maybe it's just a matter of getting it to be, like maybe bringing it in, and then bringing the ends out. Help it to feel a little bit more magical and whimsical than it's currently feeling. And maybe let's try this. Let's try this. Let's give it like a little bit of a lift here at the end. Let's come down here. Let's say display properties, hit doubles so we can see on both the top and the bottom side. Let's kind of bring in some of these points on the side so that it helps to tailor it to his head a little bit better. And we'll help flare out the bottom so that we can show off his lovely ears. Let's play with some of this. That's kind of interesting. I started off with kind of like a Swiss Alps sort of idea, and it's evolving. I mean, it feels almost more plant-like, but it's evolving. Let me see. Is that clicking sound a razor product? I'm not hearing a clicking. So I don't know. I'm not sure what you're hearing. I was watching another streamer using Z spheres in their minifigure making process last night. It worked so well for them. Was tempted to revisit that tool. Yeah, I don't know. It would take a lot for me to want to revisit Z spheres. It's a tool that, yeah, I've seen people do some incredible things with it, but I just it's one of those that's just, it doesn't fit into my workflow. I'll put it like that. It doesn't fit into my workflow. Um, and maybe it's just because it's something that I don't have enough mileage with. I just need to get more time with it. I need to play with it more. I need to experiment and see the real power that it has. But it's really kind of a complex tool. It's simple, but it's complex too, and it's really kind of a, I don't know, kind of a tricky one for me. It's just one that I don't feel like I've seen enough of what I need to be able to do to feel like I need to work with it. Um, some of the things that I find that are really cool. Um, some of the things that I've seen that are really cool is like the topology stuff or the rigging stuff. There are some really cool things that they have now that you can use it to be able to create a curve, but I feel like I can be quicker just by creating a curve rather than fidgeting with Z spheres. Um, it's one of those things where it's like, I mean, it still gives you like control over that curve and where it goes, and that's cool. So I think it's really just a matter of me going through and playing with it, learning it, figuring it out, and then being able to better judge whether or not it's something that I feel like I could really benefit from. I'm gonna, oops, I don't want that. Control D, and then we'll just kind of fix some of these points here. So yeah, just really kind of tricky. In the early days of ZBrush, I wasn't aware of how many stylized artists used copied spheres to block out. So when I saw Z spheres, this was going to be, yeah, yeah. It's really kind of a. Oh, you know what? I kind of like that blue. Shoot, I'm gonna steal it. This is a good color. I like that. I like that blue. That's actually quite nice. And I am going to separate out the body from the head. Go body. We'll call this head. Say RGB color, fill object. I kind of like that. It might be something that we go through and we kind of experiment with. Let's make it more of a yellow. Maybe we give him like a kind of like a dark blue tunic, and then we'll give him like these sorts of like a sandy colored pant, and we'll give him like the blue colored shoes or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'm beginner to ZBrush. Well, welcome. ZBrush is a fantastic tool. I've been using it for a long, long time. I currently use it. I'm a character modeler at Marvel Studios. Um, Really, really good times. Really, really good times. One of the things that I thought about getting back into on my, during my streams was like personal project environment stuff. Because I've got a good one or two or 10 of those. And I feel like I get a lot of requests for those sorts of streams too. So it's like, um, so it's always kind of, oh, I gotta get rid of the subdivisions. It's always kind of a kind of interesting trying to fit those sorts of projects in. Let's make this hat tip maybe a little bit rounder just by adding in a little bit more resolution. Yeah, something like that works pretty well. Let me see. Tried several times, but struggle every time. I see the power in the tool and just able to wield it. Are you talking about the Z spheres, Leonard? What's up? Hey, Steamworks, how you doing? Are you going to print an army of these guys? In a way, my ornament idea. I've got a couple of different ornament ideas with this guy. I think it should be kind of funny both ways. Um, I just don't want to give away the idea before I'm done creating it, because I feel like the reveal is going to be funny, and I feel like people will enjoy the reveal side of it. Um, but in a sense, yes. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead. Let's say dynamic. Let's turn on. Yeah, sure. Let's turn on like a dynamic thickness so that we can get a little bit of a preview of what that might look like once I add thickness to it in actuality. Let's go ahead and turn off symmetry, and we'll just kind of tilt this off to a side so that it feels a little bit more dynamic. Just make it so it feels a little bit like there's a little bit more movement to it. Uh, cool. All right. Call something like that good for now. In fact, one of the things we could do, not the rhino, I want the Santa. I'm going to grab, come on, Control Shift A. I'm going to say delete lower for now, and then we'll go ahead and bring it over in here. We'll say subtool, it'll say insert, so it puts it in right underneath the hat. I'll say delete hidden, and then we'll say reconstruct subdivisions, so that we can control it a little bit better. This way we have at least, you know, like the ball that we can go ahead and we can attach to the top of the head if we want to, see what it's like, if we want it or not. It looks like something I don't want, but at least we have one, you know. We have the option now of choosing whether or not to keep it. What is the color on this that I have set? Do I have a set color? I do have a set color. Okay. Cool. Let's see. Is this guy worked from a sketch or straight from the brain? This one's done from the brain. This one's done from, you know, creative juices in my head, which is kind of tricky, but it's fine. Okay, I don't want to use noise then. So one of the things that I want to try to do is get a few pieces blocked in. I don't need to worry about creating like everything nice and like refined and whatnot, but I do want to make sure that I have enough of a character there to be able to, you know, claim that he's finished. Let's go ahead. I'm going to grab. I guess we'll grab the arms. We'll grab the full arms. We'll say insert. Bring those in. I really only want this one glove. I mean, this is super. In fact, maybe we'll use this glove because I like the way that it looks better. It's more finessed. We'll say geometry. Not mirror and weld. Sorry. Delete hidden. Where's delete hidden? There it is. I was like, what's happening? This piece right now is pretty dense. Let's go ahead and see if we can, yeah, we can reconstruct a few times. That's great. Let's turn off the dynamics so that we can modify things a little bit more easily and quickly. This way we just have like this nice little mitten that he can wear. And we don't have to worry about recreating any any hands. It's still rather large. But I need to make sure that it's large enough that it feels like it suits his character. I'm going to say with this piece, like we were talking about earlier, I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to say remesh by Dynamesh or something like that. Say delete lower. Remesh by Dynamesh. It's really, really heavy, so let's bring it down quite a bit. That'll work. You can see I went through and it kept the groups, which is interesting. I didn't expect it to do that. I'm going to turn off groups, and maybe that's the difference. Let's go ahead and drag that out so we can get the resolution and say Dynamesh. Awesome. That's exactly what I wanted. Okay, I've got kind of this extra little bit of geometry on the back of the hand here. I'm just going to clip that down. clip that down. And we'll just try to make this feel as, you know, simple and nice as we can. Let's put our smoothing all the way up. Let's make his gloves like, or his mittens rather, like a red color, because that could look really kind of nice. Need to make sure that thumb has enough meat to it in order to feel like it fits with the rest of the fingers. Want to make sure this bottom of the palm doesn't look too odd. So let's just kind of sculpt in a little bit of that just to fill it in some. It's kind of cool having like a little bit of the flopsiness that makes it feel a little bit more like cloth. But I want to make sure that, yeah, it's a little bit too round. Let's kind of flatten it out some. We'll kind of change the shape of it a little bit too, so that it feels a little bit more hand-shaped.
Oh, that was scary.
I feel like the way that it was for Santa, it works for Santa, but I feel like it also just feels a little bit too round and uncontrolled for this particular character. So we're just kind of making some changes here on the fly, as we do. Let's go through and kind of add like a little bit of padding right here to make it feel like it's got the I'll say the muscle transition, but it's not really quite what I mean. It's more that that transition that would naturally be happening. Let's kind of sketch that in. Okay. So right now we've got this kind of color here. Let's go ahead and hit that. Let's make it more red. That's kind of cool. It looks like oven mitts though. I got an idea what we can do for that. Maybe it'll probably look better once we have like the sleeves worked out. So like he's got the strange watching me sculpt with Dynamesh, borderline heresy. That's funny. um, get like the fur trim around the wrist. That should feel much better. Let's say mRGB color fill object. You just kind of raise it up a little bit. I feel like that'll fit a little bit better, make it feel a little bit more true to the positioning. Modify topology, mirror and weld, boom. Okay, so now let's go ahead and create the sleeves. And we might be able to just use this. Let me try something. Control Shift D. Let's kind of bring this down. So you can kind of see what it is that I'm trying to do. I'm trying to just squeeze this ball in and make it feel like more of a disc sort of shape. So I'm just going to squeeze that in, kind of pull things out. Because then when I add in the other resolution, it's a ball. um, so yeah, it's just a matter of getting good placement on it now. The idea is to keep things as watertight as possible so that when it comes time for 3D print or anything of that nature, I don't have to worry about there being any issues. Um, oh my goodness, something itches. Um, so yeah, there we go. We've got this little puffball of imagination here. In fact, let me kind of have it at a semi-high resolution here so we can see what's going on. And it might be worthwhile to take this and kind of rotate it so that it's, showcasing a little bit more of that detail rather than. In fact, I wonder. Yeah, that should be fine. I was just wanting to check and make sure that I had that I wasn't hiding nicer detailed areas. Okay, let's do something kind of like that. And then I just want kind of like a nice thick sleeve going up to the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab just the arms here. Oh, nerds. Let's go ahead and invert that visibility. Say split hidden, so that way we have just the arms. I'm going to duplicate them out, and let's thicken this up. Just going to grab the inflate brush and boom. Take this and kind of readjust it so that it fits. So now those elements coming together is starting to create a much more clean and complete look. It's funny because I mean it's totally cheated, but it's super working. It's super working. uh, I rely on Dynamesh a lot, but when I watch your streams with the topology management, I think, dang, I'm doing it wrong. Definitely a cross-country skier now. Yeah, but he's going kind of commando right now. He needs to definitely have some some sort of change in wardrobe. So let's do this. I'm going to grab my tool, put it in the let's turn off symmetry, put it in the middle. So I duplicated the body, and what I want to do is let's go ahead and use our primitives. I'm just going to make a sphere. Let's make it nice and big so we can see it. I'm doing pretty well today with my sound management. I've muted myself for coughing, and I haven't forgotten to turn it back on yet. Fingers crossed that it stays that way. Thank you, Steamworks. Yeah, I'm having so much fun with it. Fleece lined loincloth is all the rage this time of year. That's funny. So what I'm going to do is let's go ahead and say flatten. And I just want to flatten this bottom side. Okay, let's say extender. Let's kind of extend it out just to give us an extra little loop of topology here that's straight up and down. And then I want to go in and uncrease everything. Okay, just kind of expand it out so that it's fitting better. Oops. 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 Turn on symmetry again. Mask that out so that it's got its own polygroup there in the middle there. There. Reminds me I have to make some clothes for the wonderfully returning elf on the shelf this year. That's funny. Yeah, let's actually go through. Let's push that in a little bit. Pull this up some. Like I need to be careful that I'm not like totally killing his silhouette, because the silhouette's part of what part of what I really liked originally and that I wanted to be able to maintain. So we're going to play with that some. Okay, good. I do have my symmetry on. Okay, let's come in here. We'll start kind of fiddling with these shapes, and this is where clean topology will come in handy. So I'll probably keep that nice and tidy, just for the sake of being able to control it, right? Okay, let's go ahead and grab that shirt color again. We'll say MRGB color fill object, so that way it's got like this that full shape in there. Oh, let's get this this piece over here too. Control Shift D. I'll say delete lower. We'll say deformation mirror. Now we've got that on both sides. We can reconstruct so that it's the same. And if we have both of these with the subdivision of level of 4, merge it down. So now they're both the same, and I can go and merge up and down. So really kind of a nice nice deal going on there. Let's see. I need to create a couple of things. One being fur and the other being fur. I'm going to, you see that? Yeah, that has symmetry turned on. Let's turn off symmetry. Let's kind of duplicate this out by control dragging it out. Let's grab the ring simple. Let's rotate it down so that this is, got the nice the nice angle like the other piece here. I'm gonna bring this up. Control click and drag. Oh, let's split this out too, because I do want this to be its own thing. And I'll show you why here in a few minutes. Oops. Control W. Oh, here, let's go ahead and mask that out. Start to kind of want to be careful it doesn't start looking like a conquistador. Just kind of take this and start bending the front down so that it can start facing the tube underneath it. And let's take these top points and kind of pull them down. Okay, so we're already to 10 o'clock. I'm not intending to go really any further than just this piece right here. So we'll go ahead and we'll finish out this piece. And then we'll call it a week. Let's go ahead and select the color of the floofs. MRGB color, floof that. Okay, I want to select this. I'm going to go ahead and just hold Alt and select it. We'll hit delete, single poly, and boom. That gets rid of all four, which is nice. And then I can just say bridge two holes, polygroup flat, minimum resolution, boom and boom. And now those are put together. Okay, so now I've got this floof bit here that I can start to process and turn into like a decent floof bit. I've got a few ideas of things that I'd like to do with this. Let's hit Control D, soften it out some. Oh, you know what? Did I not? Color, fill object, just to make sure that it's all one consistent color. One of the things that I'm going to want to do, you know I'm all about the Christmas ornaments. It'll get there. It'll get there. Maybe not today, but it'll get there. Let me see. One of the things I want to do is let's make sure that I've got like some different polygroups set up, because I have an idea of how I want to be able to control this. So I'm going to say, oops, I don't want that. Shoot, why are you messing with me like that? Let's go ahead and select that and select that. So now we've got an outside and an inside. In fact, we could probably even go ahead and do something like this too. So that way we have a little bit more of that. We'll just make them so that they're different polygroups. The reason I want different polygroups is so that I can go ahead and I can grab, like, say the inside or the outside polygroup. In this case, I'll make it the outside, and we'll just kind of floof it a little bit more. We're going to need it for our next step. Let me see. I'm going to say geometry. We're going to make this our new lowest subdivision. Let's get rid of that. You know what? Let's try something. I want to say, let's say slide, edge loop partial. Let's kind of slide that down this way, slide this up this way, and then I want to say inset poly loop. I wish that there was like a keep. Say standard. I wish that there was like a keep polygroup function for that. I'm going to go ahead and say extrude polygroup island, and then I'm just going to start extruding and hold shift. And the reason I want to do this is that this is going to allow me to take this piece and move it so that I can have here, let's turn on my symmetry again, I guess. I want to have a belt going across the midriff area, where a belt goes. Um, just to give like a reason why his coat is staying closed. It just helps to complete the character and makes him feel a little bit more complete, right? So we're just going to do something like that. I'm going to grab this topology and kind of pull it down, grab this topology, kind of pull it up. Not entirely sure like when I'll get to actually making the belt. Maybe right now, I don't know, we'll see. Um, yeah, you know what? It should be easy enough to do right now. We'll just do this. We'll say modify topology, delete hidden. And then we will do something like this. Dynamic, turn on dynamic, turn off the smooth, turn up the thickness. Oops. Here, let's change our offset to 100, so that way it's going just in the positive direction and not so much in the negative. Let's go ahead and raise this up a little bit so he can stand on mountains. Just kidding. Can anybody name that tune? You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. And then I'll probably have to make a belt buckle, but that's okay. I don't know that I'll do it today because that's extra. Yeah, let's change the offset. We'll just make it so that it's 0. It's fine. But I do want it to be thicker. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. Okay, so I've got this sort of thing going on. I do need this to be a different color, so I'm going to take this to like a dark brown. Like, what's super desaturated, right? Color, fill object. That way it stands out like it's its own thing. I don't want it to be super high contrast, so having it similar in value to that blue will be helpful. I need to model his pointy shoes at some point. All right. Let's go ahead. I'm going to add the floofers to this floofer bit. Let's see. Let's Control D a few times. In fact, with this belt, maybe what I'll do is I'll say crease PG, and then we'll say dynamic. We'll change this up to like 2, so that way it's nice and smooth, and we don't have to worry about it being too different from everything else. To be able to make this more like this, what I got to do is I've got to add surface noise. So let's go ahead. Let's kind of fix some shapes here real quick before we get started. We don't need symmetry on anymore, so I'm just going to turn it off. And this will help to add a little bit more of like a believable sort of shape to what I've got going on in here. Just to make it so it's a little bit less symmetrical, right? Help it to feel a little bit more natural or whatever. Okay, so what we got to do is I'm going to let's pull him up and then pull him down to the bottom so I can show you in the light box. Let's go to noise, and then there's this noise, and you guys have seen me use it before, I'm sure. I use it for everything. So I'm going to double tap on that. Let's come over to the surface tab, we're going to edit. You see we've got like this color. I'm just gonna start off by getting that down to 0. It doesn't have to exist at all. No color blend. Scale wise, it looks like it needs to be a little bit larger, so we're gonna say plugin size. We're gonna scale it up a bit. Noise scale, you know, we can kind of play with that however we feel like we want to, and make it a little bit bigger so that it's kind of nice. Ooh, I'm going to actually lower the mix basic noise, just so that the pattern has a chance to be able to kind of shine through. So we have that going through. I'm going to say okay. Okay, so now you see this is what we're getting. Now I'm going to say mask by noise, and I am going to say, well, let's invert it, and then we'll say deformation, and we'll say inflate. Invert it again, we'll kind of inflate it the other direction. And you can see it's starting to create that sense of like a fur. Okay. Really kind of funny, right? Let's bring the noise back. What I want to do is I want to go in by hand and kind of like custom fluff some of these spots so that it gives it a little bit more of an organic look. Makes it feel like it was less computer generated. Which, you know, in the end, this is kind of the idea. This is the thing that you want to be shooting for. There you go, kind of something like that. So now he's got his little floof bits. Okay, if we decide that it's like not fluffy enough, I mean, we could easily go through and kind of, you know, change our resolution, and we can step back up when we're done. If we feel like it's not quite defined enough, we can just Control D and just, you know, make it so that it's nice, nice and soft, nice and smooth. And then we can take our contrast and we can kind of, you know, boost this up. Okay, this is a really cool little tool now. I really quite appreciate having that. It really boosts and pulls out those details nicely. I feel like I want this floof to kind of extend down his shoulder a little bit more. So maybe I'm going to try like pulling this out a little bit more. Something kind of like that. That's a little bit better. I like that shape better. Okay. I mean, with the hat, one of the things I want to do is I want to create like a band that goes around. Do something kind of like that sort of coverage. I mean, it's going to be a little bit different, but, you know, something kind of along those lines. Yeah, the align's pretty stinking cool. Let me see. I'm seriously blown away. Thank you. I have been suffering through Maya, and you can do this in ZBrush. Yeah. Yeah, well, Maya is great too, but it's definitely a different kind of tool. Um, definitely a very different kind of tool. Um, because most of what it is meant for production. You know what? This is not going to be as amazing as I was hoping, but we'll just have to do it side by side instead of just doing it, two sides at a time. Um, where was I at? So yeah, Maya's more meant for digital production and all those wonderful things that make it so that it's animation ready and things like that. Um, ZBrush is as well, but it's a sculpting tool. It's a um, yeah, it's meant to get you something that's much more aimed at high production, I'll say. Um, things such as being able to create high resolution maps, being able to create. Yeah, I don't need any of that right now. Yeah, displacement and normal maps, and I use it some for my color maps, things like that. Um, oops. I do want to slide this down to make this bit a little bit thicker. Um, yeah, ZBrush is awesome, and it's cool too because it has the flexibility of not just doing stuff for digital production. It also has the power of doing things for for 3D print and doing like high fidelity sculpt and being able to handle and process things like scan data, like 3D scan data, which is tremendous. So helpful. Um, I'm I don't particularly care for processing scan data, so I feel very fortunate that that's not part of my job. Um, because it's messy. It's a hard process to work through. I've had to do it in the past. I've had to use it to be able to do like 3D models of furniture and other stuff that was just not as fun as what I do now. But it is what you do, and it is what it is, right? Let me see. Let's say crease. I'm gonna say crease PG. We're going to say under the dynamic. Let's change the offset to 100. Control T. There we go. Let's go ahead and kind of fix this top edge. Oh, have you guys been watching any new shows that you've been excited about? Or even old shows? Like for instance, I just finished watching the Avatar: Last Airbender, um, which is always a joy. Look at him. He looks so happy to be here, guys. So happy. But yeah, I love Avatar: The Last Airbender. I just finished watching through it again for the first time in a long time the other day. and started back on Legend of Korra again. Hey, gorgeous. Say subtool, split unmasked. I'm gonna have to like go through and rename things and order things out and all that, but in the very least, in the very least, we have stuff, right? That's the whole point. Say inset, single poly. Gonna set this to something like that. Same on the back. Oh, something I do want to make sure of is that with the dynamic that there is no thickness. The smooth subdiv is fine. It's gonna be changed here in a minute. I'm gonna say QMesh single poly, so just bring it through so that it connects through. So now I've got that nice hard surface piece there. Okay. And then what I want to do is I want to make this, let's say, mirror and weld. And then I will mask out that center. And then just kind of bend it so that it fits around the tummy a little bit better. Let's go ahead and let's say crease. We're going to change our angle so that it's like, 50, 60 degrees, somewhere around there. So that way it creases everything that is, so like it'll leave this alone because it's not below that thick or that angle, or above that angle, below that angle. I don't know, however it's supposed to go. I do, however, want to make sure that I am creasing these corners. Okay, so now we hit the dynamic, and you see it's like smoothly rounding it out. I want to bring that crease size down to like 2, and then we'll take our dynamic smooth up to 3. And you see now we're starting to get like a little bit of like a smoothing effect. Okay. Color for the elf's face feels a little bit too rosy. Gonna have to kind of play with that a little bit. Let's go ahead and grab this, maybe make it a little bit darker, a little bit less saturated. We'll say MRGB color fill object. A little bit darker. There we go, that feels better. And then purely because we probably ought to have something like this, we'll just go ahead and oh, not that. Turn off symmetry. Okay, just to be able to add in kind of that idea of like a belt. So we could go through in here. We could also add in like belt loops if we want to, and we probably will at some point. I don't know. We'll see. Rick and Morty is always fun to watch. It's not in my my line of tastes, but yeah, that is definitely like a super popular one. It feels like sculpting back at work. I was able to finish out my ornament while watching. Oh, good. I'm glad I wasn't distracting you too much, Leonard. That is one of the hard things. I know that like I've got friends that I've tried to get into streaming because they enjoy working and they enjoy working kind of in tandem with other people. Um, but they find that like streaming itself is really kind of hard to do because they don't like not getting things done. For me, I live with it. I try to get things done anyway. It is a good distraction. Got to go up and change my preferences so that it's not quite as not as often of a quick save. Maximum duration. At least it goes every 30 minutes. It's not too bad. Restoration, I shouldn't have to worry about too much. Have you considered adding articulation to your prints, like ball and socket joints? I've thought about it. It's just that one of the hard things for me is that I really like being able um, to prototype things, and it's a tricky situation for me going through and trying to prototype a ball and socket joint or those types of things on like a Form 2 printer, on a resin printer, because I feel like it doesn't move the same way as like an ABS plastic, or as like a even like a vinyl, or those sorts of plastics would be. Um, and so it's a little bit trickier for me to feel like that's, I'm getting out of the process what I need. Um, I'll go ahead and crease that, sure. Insert single edge loop. Um, so yeah, I mean it's just really kind of tricky for me, because I like being able to prototype things and feel like it's what I'm prototyping. If I can't quite get that, then it just kind of feels like I'm wasting materials and wasting things. I really don't like wasting materials, um, which I'm sure people can understand, right? Yeah. Um, yeah, let's go ahead and kind of give him a little bit of an overhang with his jacket. Pull that down and in, pull that down, something like that. Give myself a little bit more pludge in the budge. There. Alright. Let's really lower that intensity. Wait, what am I doing? I need to... Oh, that's what I wanted. I wanted to turn on symmetry. I was like, I'm trying to do something. What was I wanting? Oh yeah, I wanted to do the same thing on both sides, so I only have to do it once. That's great. Yeah, let's do that. Turn off symmetry. Oh, that's not what I want. I want move auto radius. Or move brush radius also works, but okay. Okay, so far so good. He's looking pretty fun. Let me see. Your streams give me motivation to sculpt. It's also a safety net. I can ask a question if I run into a problem. That's true. I'm wondering how much it'll cost to upgrade our perpetual licenses. So, um, there, that's a good question. Um, because like there really isn't a super good answer. Um, Here, let's actually grab all of this. We'll say RGB. We'll hit fill a few times. I don't know. It's kind of playing around, try to see what it is we can create off of this. That feels all right. I just want it to not feel like skin. I want it to feel like he's not going commando, you know, because that's just not right. Um, yeah. So my understanding is that ZBrush is now part of being part of Maxon, being part of Maxon One. Um, Means that it's something that you won't necessarily have a perpetual license beyond ZBrush 2022. So like if you already own a perpetual license of ZBrush 2022, that license is to continue on. I don't know. I don't know if that's like a perpetual forever perpetual, but it'll at least be for now. At some point, they'll stop supporting it and or developing it, and it'll become a legacy format. Um, Something that here let's go through and let's grab the hair pieces that we had kind of extruded or extracted from here, and let's get rid of these too because we don't need these. Um, but my understanding is that with it being part of Maxon One, it's now something that um, yeah, I mean, it has like that perpetual license. It has. Did I get rid of? I think I did. I'll have to go back to Santa and get the. Oh, I see. Okay. I'll have to go back to Santa and get the other piece um, that I'm looking for here. Um, but yeah, so for instance, we'll be able to have like our what's the word? I'm totally lost for words right now. Um, say delete hidden modify topology. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a tricky situation. It's something totally new and different and whatnot. Um, because I mean, for instance, I mean, I've had ZBrush for a little over 10 years now. Oh, I like that. I like. Oh, he's gonna be a good looking boy like that. Oh, that's good. I like that. Yeah, let's put this in here. Depending on how I situate that, he could look like Graham Norton. Um, let's kind of play with this a little bit. But yeah, so part of the subscriptions for Maxon, it has its own subscriptions, but it'll be like an annual thing now. Oh, I like that. That looks good. Um, but yeah, I mean, I've had the free upgrades for this professional license for 10 years, and so that's it's I recognize it's not the easiest thing to like pay for software because it's hundreds of dollars every year that just goes to paying for for software. Like all the Adobe stuff, I pay for all the Adobe stuff. I don't currently have a license for Maya, otherwise I'd be paying through the nose. Um, I don't have a license for Maya because it's not something that I've needed to use for a while. Not a big deal. Um, yeah, everything's kind of moving in that direction. Do you know how to enable symmetry when you are in a deformer? Even though I'm symmetry before activating, it doesn't seem to work. So here's kind of a thing to be aware of. Here, let me go ahead and kind of recapture my little elfin dude over here, just for the sake of being able to kind of. Oh, let's save because saving is good. It's good. Saving is a good thing. um, let's see. Let's start. Let's say append. I'm just gonna append. Let's do this ring 3D because why not? We'll come down to the ring 3D. Make it big. Okay. So currently, symmetry is turned on. One of the things that we can do is like right now, pay attention first that the note that the gizmo is in the center of this gizmo of this piece, and I do have symmetry turned on. If I go in and try to use things like the extender, that'll work. I can go ahead and use different things like flatten, all sorts of different tools, right? All sorts of things that I can use. I can use my gizmo transformer things pretty easily. Um, One thing that I do want to draw your attention to is like accept. I'm going to go ahead and start by let's use like the IMM primitives. I'm going to just draw out on the surface. Let's draw out one. So it's not symmetrical, right? Turn off symmetry. It's asymmetrical, and the symmetry got turned off because I used a deformer. Um, I don't know that it always does it, but it seems like it always does it. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. So now I can come in here. I can still use things like I can use my taper. I can do whatever it is that I want to with this. Um, I'm going to show you something that's kind of cool. I'm going to turn on symmetry. I can turn on like say drag out another polysphere and kind of pull this out. And now I can if I go ahead and try to use my bend arc, you can see it gets or like some other. Let me see. Let's try bend curve could be cooler. Um, I'm gonna try like changing my resolution just a little bit. So you can see like I'm getting this sort of effect where it's like it's going in symmetry. It's working really well. You can change the axis of however your tool's working. You can change things like symmetrical or no. Um, so right now it's set to yes, right? So if I go ahead and change it to no, then I can go ahead. Oh, why isn't it working? Oh, it's because it's going symmetrical in whatever direction it's. Okay, I see. You can see it's moving the front end and the back end at the same time, and in the same amounts. So that's kind of cool. That's something to keep in mind. It's not going to be dependent on whether or not you have symmetry turned on per se. If I turn symmetry off, or sorry, scratch that, reverse it. It is dependent on your symmetry. Local symmetry is going to be something to kind of keep in. What's it called? Local symmetry is something to kind of be aware of too. It can make or break things. Right now, it's not going to matter a whole lot because those pieces aren't interacting. Um, But yeah, so having symmetry on, having symmetry off, it's going to affect and change kind of how things behave with that tool. Um, the deformer, if we're going to go into the actual deformer, let's go ahead and say accept. Um, so right now, let's just say we have our symmetry turned on. We're going to make it centered or whatnot, because why not? And then we're going to into the actual deformer, and you can see I went through and it just did something really really weird. I have no idea why it did that. Um, but we can go ahead and move that. We can start to move parts of it, to be able to modify some shapes. So you can see we're getting some really interesting things happening in here. Yeah, let's go ahead and we can mask out some of these other things. Move it. Okay. I'm not sure why this broke up my center. That got kind of, it's kind of weird. Um, but there are ways to fix it, so I'm not really terribly worried. So we get things like this, and we can play with that and do things however we feel like we need to. We can go ahead and we can change our symmetry. Obviously, went through and reset the tool by doing that. So you can see, like, if I come over here. Oh, sorry, that's not what I wanted. Wait, I'm not sure what's going on. What's interesting? So it looks like it's treating each side separately. That's weird. I don't know why this is behaving like this. This is something completely different to me. Um, but yeah, these little cones will affect kind of how your things behave. You have the same thing with like the Y symmetry, uh, the Z symmetry. I think if you turn off, yeah, let's say reset. That totally got rid of everything. That's really bizarre. Full reset. Delete. That's really weird. It totally got rid of my piece here. That is so funny. Okay, so there's our piece. Let's go deformer. So now we've got all our different things. So now we can go ahead and we can kind of work in symmetry in this sort of way. Let's kind of mask that out. Okay. If we wanted to, we can also add in subdivisions and get some different effects this way. Okay. So you get those sorts of things kind of happening there. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot and a little and nothing at the same time. Yeah, I like that little whooshy of hair though. That's kind of fun. Toggle symmetry meltdown. Yeah, the deformer itself is not one that I use a whole lot. Um, it's one that I use every once in a while, but not a whole lot because I feel like it's something that I can easily do well enough with just my move brush and things like that, or with the transpose line or other things of that sort of nature. Um, you know what? My heck. I just can't stop. Oh, you know what? There we go. I'm gonna say split unmasked. Oh. Wait, I'm confused. Where? Here, this is what I want. Say split hidden. Okay, cool. Now we can get started. Whew. All right. Let's get this Q mesh. Yeah, single poly, that's fine. Let's kind of extrude it out. And then we'll say insert multiple edge loops. We'll say keep the groups. Move infinite depth. Let's kind of pull this back some. Let's pull this forward some. Let's pull this somewhere some. I definitely want to play with some foot shape in this though, because I feel like an elf deserves the pointy shoes, right? So we're gonna play with that. Let's go ahead and grab this. We'll kind of pull that down for now to kind of start to get the shape of the shoes. I'm just gonna hold Alt and kind of pull that down. Hold Alt and kind of pull that down. Kind of give it a little bit of a bowing to the top of the foot. I'm going to go ahead and select this, control click and drag to be able to extrude that up. So now I've got to worry about getting like the front kind of coming out so that there's a good arc on the front. Something kind of like this and this and this and this. Make it so that it fits around his legs. Now, come on, if we can get this to work. I'm a monkey's uncle. So I'm going to want that to be up. Maybe have this down a little bit more in the back. Just feels like it kind of makes sense. And then these tips. Come on, you. I'm just going to kind of smooth it out so that it evens out that topology. Just kind of give it like a nice little pointed shoe. And then make that shoe so that it is the same color. There we go. I was like, why is it not filling in? So now I've got everything kind of blocked in. There's some refinement stuff that we got to do to make sure that everything works. And in fact, the hair is being silly. Let's go color, fill object. Let's take the shoes to Just kind of rotate it out a little bit. There we go. That'll kind of help so that we have a little bit nicer of topology flow for these shoes. Man, I'm debating now whether or not I want to even I kind of want to take them and make topology for them now. I need to make sure that that there are different thicknesses observed with these parts. I mean, at some point, when I go through and worry about the 3D printing side of things, I'll worry about all the thickness sort of stuff. But good enough. Yeah, this guy's turning out pretty fun so far. I'm yeah, it's been 3 hours. We've kind of worked out something of an elf dude. Yeah, let's go ahead and let's get some pictures here. Let's go ahead and hit. Oh, you know what? Let's get some perspective on there, so he feels a little bit more natural. Kind of place him there, something like that. Oh, I didn't mean to zoom in like that. God, good gravy. It's like I can't control it today. What's going on? I think it's my keyboard. You know what? Let's take this. We'll put this over here to this side. And then we'll bring them over into the middle, kind of like this. Maybe we'll turn off perspective. We'll keep perspective on. Why not? We'll turn it off. We'll turn it on. Let's turn it on, but turn off the focal to like 120. Cool. We have an elf. I mean, there are things that we can probably do to make them feel more magical, and we'll have to see. Let's see what else we do. Next week we can probably go through and work on posing him. Yeah, he's fun. He's fun. I think that he turned out really nicely. Let's go ahead and save him so that we don't lose him. I like him. I like him. He looks like his name would be Alfonso. Sparkles. Yeah, sparkles would definitely be interesting. I don't know. I don't know of a great way to be able to add those inside of ZBrush, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe in 3D print. I'm going to go ahead and export elf 01A just so that we have like a picture that we can see. Yeah. Shucks, man, that was fun. That was fun. Hopefully you guys had a good time. I know that I did, and yeah, I mean the goal will be to go through. I'll make some sketches so that we can see, so that I can show you the intent of what we'll be doing with him later on, to be able to make this ornament. But yeah, for now, this is where he's at. Hope you had a good time. I had a good time having you guys around. Thanks for coming and hanging out. Yeah, go make an ornament. So I had originally started an art contest on my Instagram that was intended to be for last month, but there was there was something that that the contest sponsor wanted to change about the wording and things, and so I need to go through and kind of make a couple of tweaks and changes. But once I do, let me show you the prizes. Yeah, the sponsor is 3D Connection. If you're familiar with them, they are. Let me see. Let's go to the webcam view. Let me cough real quick. Okay, the sponsor is 3D Connection, and they make Space Mouse. Okay, really cool. And it's a really fun tool. Um, I'm not super good at using this yet, but I think I'll probably start using this more in stream. They sent one for me and one to give away, so figured I'd give one away. Um, yeah, really fun. And then there's also the CAD Mouse Pro. I got some stuff on it. A CAD Mouse Pro. Um, I love this. I use this every day. It's a really nice mouse, and yeah, it gives you the option of being able to do like quick zoom. It's got a really good battery life. Uh, Three different ways of being able to connect. It's got like the port right here to be able to connect in via a wire. It connects via Bluetooth, and it also has its little plug that you can kind of plug into USB, and it'll connect to that. Yeah, it's ergonomic. It's got like a radial menu. It's got some other cool features here listed on the back that you can go through and check out. Um, this has been like one of my favorite tools that I've had and that I've been able to use for a long time. So huge thanks to 3D Connection, and the information for that contest will be up on my Instagram soon. Hopefully, I should hopefully be able to get it out this weekend. Um, and yeah, the idea will be an ornament. So working on your ornament, that'll be the challenge. So I'm just going to drop that theme right now. Work on that, and then the challenge will end like the first week of like Pearl Harbor Day or something like that, like December 7th, somewhere around there. First week of December. That way you have time to be able to kind of print it out and do whatever you want to for the holidays. um, yeah, that's all I got. That's all I got. That's all she wrote. Um, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Go have fun. Enjoy Saturday. Saturday is a special day. And I will see y'all next time I see you. Have a great weekend, and peace.